Jay Schlatt is a very interesting guy.
See, oh.
Repent or burn in hell! This is homophobic, is what it is. Why'd you paint me?
He's got a lot of different things he's known for, such as the Dream SMP when he ruled as president and died, or the Chuckle Sandwich podcast, or, most importantly for this video, his crimes of 1999. He mentions these quite often, and his fan base treats it as a sort of hidden vault of knowledge. Only a select few know the entirety of what he did, and he reveals snippets of it here and there. There's a ton of stream clips of him talking about, oh, back in 1999 I did this to this person, and he just plays it off as a laugh and moves on immediately. Then there are also other clips where people will donate to him and have the message say something along the lines of, I know what you did back in 99, I'll reveal the truth. And he immediately begins to freak out and deny that he did anything. This always confused me because if he's so open about what he did, then why does he freak out when anybody other than him talks about it? Is he only revealing snippets of what he did to actually cover up for the bigger crimes? So how exactly are we going to track his crimes when people make up what he did all the time? Simply put, we're only going to use clips of him talking about what he did to ensure quality control. After all, I can go into his comment sections right now and make up whatever I want about what he did in 99, but it wouldn't be accurate. Whatever he's willing to admit to must be the real deal, so we're going to go with that. Additionally, Schlatt has a fandom wiki where his crimes are actually listed out, which makes my job much easier. So we can go through all of his crimes that he's admitted to so far, and I can use those crimes to determine what his prison sentence would be. I'm just pointing this out again for anyone interested. All of the crimes that I list in this video are from his fandom wiki page. If you're interested in reading all of this for yourself, I've linked the website in the description of the video. However, I am reading through everything on the page, so it would be kind of pointless, but, do whatever you want. The first thing I want to go over is his crimes with actual dates. More often than not, when Schlatt mentions his crimes, he only mentions the year, because it's all the crimes of 99. But he never actually gives specific dates. However, we do have dates for exactly 3 crimes, the first one being January 17th, 1999. On this day, he approached a man and pointed a gun at his head. However, the man escaped. The second crime occurred on April 9th, 1999, where Schlatt's crime remains completely unknown. We know he did something, but he never admitted to what it was, so for simplicity's sake, I won't be worrying about it in this video. Finally, we know that on September 8th, 2022, Schlatt did something to the Queen. It's heavily implied that he offed her, but it's never confirmed, and I also can't really add this to his criminal sentence, as it's not a crime relating to 1999. Now, with the rest of his crimes, the dates are unspecified, so any of these crimes could have happened before or after the January or April events. To begin with, he garnered the name the Sword Man by committing mass homicide with a sword in a public place. Now, what is mass homicide? By legal definition, it's considered to be an act of homicide where the perpetrator commits at least 3 separate counts of capital murder, so I'm just going to assume that he killed only 3 people here. However, he could have killed dozens more, so technically speaking, he could have murder counts going into the thousands with this one. Take it however you want, but knowing Schlatt, he was probably too lazy to go after more than 3. Next, he killed 7 women with his steel-toed Timberland boots, which, to be honest, I don't really know if that's just an excellent marketing tactic by Timberland or not. Kind of a crazy merch plug, but whatever. To add to that, he killed 3 children on a Wednesday. Now, I know what you're probably asking. Why specifically Wednesday? So anyways, he got the nickname the Blade Runner for brutally slashing a 12-year-old girl in a forest. This is just my personal headcanon, but I think this girl was the one that the Paul brothers found during the incident.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
Next, he lured a homeless man into an alley and killed him with a can of baked beans. According to Schlatt's testimony, this is his favorite way of doing it, implying that some of his prior kills have also been done with baked beans. Kind of impressive that he's able to perform such a feat with a can of beans, but I also don't know how difficult it is to kill someone since I've never done it before, so it could be very easy for all I know. To round off the murder counts, Schlatt finally killed 5 people with a baseball bat. Kind of mundane compared to some of the other kills, but hey, what do I know? Maybe he needed a break from the creative ones. This one is a little bit weird, so stay with me here. Schlatt admitted to driving on the wrong side of the road for an extended period of time, claiming that he did a great job at it. This could mean one of 2 things. 1, Schlatt drove on the other side of the road flawlessly with minimal injuries to himself or others, or 2, Schlatt drove on the other side of the road with maximum injuries, killing as many people as he was able to. It could legitimately be either of these options, but I'm assuming it's the first one, as Schlatt doesn't admit to killing anybody here, and he's very proud of when he does, and he's very willing to talk about it, so I'm assuming that it was the first option. Now, how are we going to track what his criminal sentence would be? Considering Schlatt lives in Texas, I think it would be fair to assume that his crimes took place in Texas, so unless he specifies a location, I will be using the Texas Criminal Code to determine what his sentence would be. However, in certain instances, he does specify where he committed the crime, so I'll be using that location as the basis for those crimes. We'll start with his one confirmed crime in a different location, that being his aggravated assault charge with a firearm in Illinois. From what I could find, his charge for this crime would be 1 to 3 years in jail plus a $25,000 fine. I'm going to go and be very generous with this and say that Schlatt gets the absolute minimum sentence for each crime, so we'll give him only a year year for this one. Next, all of his murders. Since he never specifies a location for any of the murders, I'm just going to assume that they all happened in Texas. In total, Schlatt committed 22 separate instances of first-degree murder. In Texas, that means he would have had either 22 life sentences in jail or 22 death penalties. I'm going to consider them as death penalties, as he admits to the kills being rather brutal in nature, and in most capital murder cases, the more brutal it is, the more likely you're going to get the death penalty. Finally, his last charge, driving on the wrong side of the road. This is actually the smallest crime that he's ever committed in 99, that being a misdemeanor in Texas, which comes out to a $200 fine and 30 days in jail. So what does this mean in total? Schlatt has a total of 26 crimes, and if you're wondering where the extra 2 came from, it's because he has 2 other crimes that he claims to have done in 1999, but the actual crimes themselves are unspecified. We just know he did something. Since we can't add those to the stats, they'll just be ignored. Considering the other 24, he has a total of $25,200 in fines owed, 1 year and 30 days of jail time, and 22 death penalties, putting him in the top 10 most deadly serial killers in Texas, according to the Dallas Observer. This would additionally very easily put him into the FBI's most wanted list for violent crimes. Kind of a flex, but still a psychopathic one at that. That's all for Schlatt's crimes, though. If Schlatt ever does manage to watch this, as unlikely as it is, this is all a joke. Please don't hurt me, I have a family. Seriously though, this is it. If you're new to the channel, then subscribe. My goal is to hopefully get monetized sometime soon, because a small amount of money is definitely better than no money, and I do definitely like having money for sure. But again, that's all I've got for this one. Have a good day.